Today, we're going to talk about placement. Placement 101. Placement 101, all right? Placement is key to having a good Lashify application. Why? Because it allows us to have a very comfortable wear. It ensures that our wear is as long as we want it to be, and it ensures that we're keeping our natural lashes healthy while we're using the Lashify system. All right, so we're gonna talk everything placement, how to get perfect placement, what's the right inner and outer corner placement, what's the right waterline placement. So if you have questions along the way, let me know, pop them into the comments. I am streaming from Lashify.com. We're also simulcasting to Facebook and YouTube. So if you're in one of those platforms, say hi. Lashify Bev is gonna be in the comments there to help get questions answered. If you wanna come hang out with me in my comments, come to Lashify.com. I'll be a floating square and you can find me very easily. All right, say hi as you're jumping in. So first, if you're brand new, how do you start using Lashify? So we have a control kit, our starter kit. This is how you're gonna start using the system. It has everything you need to get started. So you're gonna choose either the white control kit or the black. It's the color of your hard case. If you get the black control kit, your patented Fuse Control 1 is gonna come in bronze. If you get the white control kit, your Fuse Control 1 is going to be in hologram. You're going to get to choose the curve on this, so you can choose either classic curve or petite eye curve. Classic curve is great for most eye shapes, normal, sort of almond, even as far as a deep set eye, medium size. If you have a flatter eye profile, if you have smaller eyes or a monolid, try out the petite eye curve, okay? It has a little bit less curve, so you can get around your eye a little bit better. Both are great. I use both. Your control kit is also going to come with Whisper Light in clear and black. This is a dual-sided tube. You're going to get a water-resistant sealer called Glass, and you're gonna get 3 sets of Gossamers. So each of these cartridges holds 12 Gossamer lashes. They're little sections of lashes. Hi, Debbie. You're gonna get 3. So there's 2 in here and you're gonna get a 3rd. You're gonna choose either Amplify, Bold, or Curl. Amplify is super natural, has thin fibers, not a lot of curl, so it looks very natural. If you want mascara kind of a look, go with Bold. It has slightly thicker fibers and a little bit more curl. If you want a light lash lift look, go with the Curl Kit. Thin fibers just like Amplify, but with more curl like the Bold. All right, you can't go wrong. Choose a style, you'll love them, and you're gonna get a 10mm cartridge, a 12mm, and a 14mm, so you can play with different lengths to fit your eye shape. All right, you're gonna have so much fun. Every control kit has a slightly magnified mirror for easy application. Your control kit sits inside this magnetic storage box. Mine has fluff on it. You open this up and you get a bunch of freebies. So much fun to open up this box. You're gonna get a sample of Melt Away and Release. Melt Away is one of our removers. Sorry, not Release, Pre-Cleanse. Oh my gosh, words, Pre-Cleanse, Melt Away and Pre-Cleanse. So Melt Away is one of the removers, Release is another remover that we have, and Pre-Cleanse is our lash prep. You're gonna get a set of wandums. These go over the tips of your Fuse Control 1. These help reduce stickiness, and they give you a little bit of a wider, cushier fuse during your application. You're gonna get also a lid space finder tool to help you choose out some other lengths to try out when you're ready for more lashes. You're gonna get a QR code to scan that's gonna take you right here to Lashify.com so you can follow along with many of our tutorials, one of our tutorials. You get this beautiful welcome letter from Sahara, who is the inventor, founder, CEO of Lashify, and your control kit sits inside this box, and when you lift it up, you're gonna get a place for Gossamer lash storage, because you'll wanna try more sizes and more styles so that you have a lash wardrobe. So if you want natural one day, if you want super extra volume another day, if you want something in between that's like very custom, you're gonna have a lash wardrobe to pick from, all right? It's a one-time purchase of $125. We knocked that down from $145, and we add an extra set of Gossamers. You get 1 extra cartridge now, and you get to choose the curve on your wand. So this is a really exciting offering for our control kit. That's how you're gonna start with Lashify, okay? After that, you sign up for our membership, and then you can get discounted pricing on refill, lashes, and extra products. I'm gonna guess who? Oh, it's Bev today. Hi T, what is the difference between V1, V2, and Glutton? So V1 is the control kit that I just showed you. This is our original control kit. Those are the offerings. And then V2 is the LED control kit. V2 is gonna come inside this hard foam case with this beautiful sort of soft satin feel lining. And it has a lot of the same, but it's got an LED light on the mirror. So let me show you that. When you open up the LED V2, you're gonna get the wand in sapphire. You can also choose the curve on your wand. You're gonna choose 4 lash styles out of anything in our collection, any size, any style, any color. So you get a little bit more customization out of which styles you start with, and you get this is a diagram on the mirror, which you can peel away, and then you get this LED lights up, and then it's dimmable. So you can bring it up and bring it back down. And it is rechargeable. So let me show you the case that it comes in again. It's magnetic. There's these little magnetic closures. You get a charger. You can still get your wandums and your lid space finder tool, and you still get this beautiful place for your lash storage. All right, so that is the offering on the V2 and the Glutton. The Glutton gives you even more customization. You're gonna choose, again, 4 lash styles out of anything in our collections, any size, any style, any color. You're gonna get to choose your wand, either petite curve or classic curve, and any color in our collection. And then you're gonna get to choose the bonds and sealers in different forms. So in all of our control kits, you start with Whisper Light and Glass. So in those other kits, you have a little bit more options as far as which bonds and sealers you're going to add, okay? Those are the differences. If you're brand new, highly recommend either V1 or V2. It's all you need. I think the Glutton is great for travel and for people who have played with the system a little bit, and their go-to bonding and sealing methods are different from what we offer in the control kit. I hope that helps. All right, good question. All right, you guys, so today we're gonna talk about placement. Placement is key, right? I've seen a few people in the Lashify Life Facebook group who have said, oh, why can't I, right, so we're gonna talk about that today. You're so welcome, T. All right, this lash map that we are working with today is one of the featured lash maps from our email from earlier today. So if you sign up for texts and emails, you get a great array of content as well as information on drops or sales. But we like to do Lash Clash series in there as well, and Lash Map inspiration. So today we put out a Old Hollywood Lash Maps inspiration email, and this is the Marilyn look that our team created. I think Jill created this lash look, and it is B10 F, that's a fluffy in 12, 2 fluffy 14s, and then an extreme ice 16 on the outer corner. Really pretty. It really embodies sort of the traditional Marilyn look, right? She had this sort of sparse open eye. She had this beautiful lid space, and it followed, she really accentuated, right, her eye shape, and she had a downturn eye, and she had this beautiful, always sort of smoked out or liner, extension liner on the outer corner that accentuated her downturn eye, which is really beautiful and sexy, so glam. So with this lash look, it still keeps it lifted, but all this volume at this corner accentuates that downward curve. It adds a little bit of volume, and it's like a faux liner look, which I love, and it gives it even like almost a faux, like a soft faux liner. Beautiful, really great look. Can I CC on this live? Closed caption. You know, I'm not sure if there is an option on there, Cindy. We'll have to check on that for you. Oops. All right. You can if you like, Cindy. If you want to go for it, go for it. All right, let's go. So first thing, let's bond, just so we can get to placement. All right, so placement, I've already prepped. I'm gonna apply a tiny bit of bond so that we have something to work with. And we're gonna start with inner and outer corner placement. I feel like that is something that's tricky for most people. There are guidelines that we can use to get better inner and outer corner placement. So for the inner corner, here's what I recommend. Just outside the iris here is the sweet spot. So something right in here is about the sweet spot for where you want to end your inner corner gossamer placement. You don't want to go all the way to the very last hair on the inner corner. It's going to be super uncomfortable. It's going to be very pokey. And for most of us, those inner corner lashes are finer. They're a little bit more sparse. They're not as good at holding up gossamers that go underneath the lashes. So if we bring in our placement by just a smidge, instead of applying right here, we're gonna bring in our placement to just outside the iris here. And here's a good way to maybe measure. People like measuring. Draw an imaginary line down the center of your eye and you hit the pupil, right? So somewhere right here, underneath the pupil, draw an imaginary dot. And then an imaginary dot right here on the outside of the iris. And then you're gonna make a dot right here on the corner of your brow. We're gonna connect the dots. You can even use your fuse control wand here. And then somewhere right in here, if you pull back, boop, right there, is gonna be your magic spot for inner corner placement, okay? There is a caption option on Facebook. Okay, we'll look into that, Cindy. We'll look into that for everyone. I know, we've been getting asked for that quite a bit. So let's do the inner corner. I'm gonna go in with the B10. I'm gonna double bond, and I'm just gonna use Clear Whisper Light so we can see what we're doing. I applied my bond on my lash, not on my skin, because we're always going to attach the gossamer lashes to our natural lashes, never on skin. Again, it's for comfort, it's for longevity, it's so that we can ensure that we're keeping our natural lashes healthy. They need some space at the roots of the lashes so that they can move and grow, right? There's no tension at the roots that could accidentally pull them prematurely. That would cause damage. All right, so let's come in. I applied a little bit of Clear Whisper Light onto the spine of the gossamer. Let's use the blow to get it to dry down just a little bit faster so we can get there. So 1 to 2 millimeters away from the wet line. What do I mean by that? I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, leave a gap. Oh yeah, leave a gap. And then they end up placing everything really flush onto the water line. So I usually look down into a mirror when I do my placement so I can see my wet line. But I'm gonna show you in the camera. Okay, I don't recommend this position for application, especially for newbies. But I'm gonna show you in the camera. So I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna leave out a bunch of these baby hairs, and I am aiming for 1 to 2 millimeters away from the wet line. Oh, and it's so hard to do this in the camera. Let's try again. Coming in. Okay, I see the roots. You wanna see the roots of the natural lashes under there. And then when you squint your eyes, you don't want to feel a thing. If you're feeling pinching or poking, it's too close to the wet line. All right, that's really high. I mean, it's high enough so that you guys can see that there's a gap. Let's try again. Let me actually get it on. And look, we can move things around if we didn't like our placement or if we didn't like the lash. So I'm gonna look down because it's way easier. And then once I get it on there, I'm gonna show you. Okay. Let's just make sure that's right. That's still too high, you guys. I'm placing way too high. 1 to 2 millimeters is not too much. It's like a credit card width, but I can show you also how to measure using your fuse control wand. Let's just fuse her because I don't want her to wiggle. Okay, So coming in, here's how you can measure using your Fuse Control wand. For that 1 to 2 millimeter gap, you're going to use the tip, one tip of your Fuse Control wand, and then you're gonna place that at the top of your wet line where your lashes are growing out of your eye. If it fits between the top of your wet line and the spine of the Gossamer, you have enough space. This was a holy grail tip for me personally for getting good longevity. When I was a new user, I was putting it directly on the wet line because I came from strip lashes as a makeup artist and as a stage performer. And with strip lashes, you're putting it on top of your eye and you're putting it really as close to your lash line as you possibly can on the skin so that you don't have to hide it, right? So, rookie mistake, I was doing that and I was wondering why I wasn't getting good longevity. As soon as I started measuring using the tip of the wand, I didn't have issues with longevity, all right? That little space is absolutely necessary. I still wanna move it. I think it's still too far out, but that's okay. Look at how many times we can just move things around. So easy. This Whisper Light Bond is super forgiving. So don't feel like you have to rush through your application. If you don't like your placement, it's okay. Take it off, try again. If you're moving a bit slower, it's okay. And you lose like your working time, just add a little bit more bond, let it get tacky, and keep right on going. All right, let's do the outer corner. Let's do the outer corner. What's the trick with the outer corner? Because if we go too far out, we have the potential to get drooping, right? We wanna keep things nice and lifted. So here's the trick. Here's the guideline. Follow your lower lash line, right? Your lower lash line comes up for most of us. And if we just extend that line, you never wanna go below. You never wanna place below that line. If you place below, because most of us have lashes that dip down below that line, if you place it on those last baby hairs, you're gonna get some drooping, all right? So keep it nice and lifted. Let's add some bond. We're gonna go to the Extreme Ice 16 millimeter. On that outer corner, let's do our tacky test here and see how tacky this bond is. Oh, it's still pretty good. Maybe we'll add a tiny bit for good measure. So it's okay to add a tiny bit of bond as you go. It's okay to layer your bonds a little bit, as long as it's very light, very thin applications, and you allow each one to get tacky before adding more bond or adding your Gossamers. Gina, yes, I'm only using Whisper Light for today so we can move things around because we're talking about placement. And I'm using the clear so you guys can see what I'm doing. But you can use whatever you like. You can use the black Whisper Light if you prefer. You can combine them however you like. There's no right or wrong. With the bonds, it's really gonna be about personal preference. It's gonna be about eye chemistry. When you get your control kit, you're gonna get Whisper Light in clear and black. It's a dual-sided tube. It's the same formula. The only difference is the color. I'll say that there's maybe a slight difference in the consistency due to, I think, the pigment in the black side, but otherwise it's the same. Nancy says, I'm right-handed and my left eye always looks great, but my right eye always looks crowded. Okay, got any, or just not as good? Any tips? Okay, so Nancy, is it possible that the length of each eye is a little bit different? I suspect that that might be the case. I have the same thing. This is a shorter eye in length. This is a little bit of a longer eye. So I have to do quite a bit of overlapping on this eye in order to match this eye. I even have to go as far as to bringing in my outer corner placement a little bit further than maybe I want to in order to get better symmetry, in order to shorten this eye. So I wonder if that might be the case for you as well. I would play with different starting points for your application. Maybe find a point of symmetry that you want to start from, if it's the outer corner or the center or the inner corner, and maybe apply bond here, and then get those two in place. Oh, I'm so glad. I think that might be the case, Nancy. Report back to us. And doing what we're doing today could help with creating a nice frame for you to work inside of. We're doing inner corner and outer corner. So if you line up your inner and outer corners first, then you have all this space to overlap as much as you like. Try that, amazing. Okay, outer corner, we're keeping this nice and lifted. We are going to leave out a few of those natural hairs on the outer corner, going up by 1 to 2 millimeters away from the wet line. Beautiful, beautiful, I think that's good. And then I'm gonna do a little reverse fuse. If you get some stickiness, just move slowly. I like to work without the wandums on. If you're going with the wandums, you're probably likely going to have less sticking. That's what those are for. Carrie says, random question. Isn't the black Whisper Light a brush and the white Whisper Light a flat applicator? So here on our black Whisper Light, our black Whisper Light comes with a micro mascara applicator. And then the clear side comes with a pointy precision tip if you're getting the dual-sided Whisper Light. If you're getting the single tube of Whisper Light, whether it's clear or black, you're going to get a micro mascara applicator. All right, and then how long before they expire? So Sahara likes to say that unopened, they can last up to 3 years, but it really depends on, you know, what they've been through. When you open it up, check it out if you haven't used it before. If the consistency looks good, you can still use it. Once you open it, it's about 3 to 6 months before it starts sort of coagulating, because there's no harsh chemicals that don't act really as like preservatives to keep it that consistency. It's natural for it to start getting tacky right out of the tube. Let's see, got my kit in August, used it 5 months later. I think the consistency was compromised. So it's probably within the time that it takes for it to start. As soon as it starts hitting air, the bond will start getting more tacky right out of the tube. So it's probably time for a new tube. No worries. One eye holds, so Bev says she has the same issue with different length of eyes. She has one eye that takes 5 and one eye that takes 6. Carrie says, I struggle with overlapping them. Okay, so overlapping, definitely look down into a mirror. And you just want to make sure you have bond. Either directly on, when you overlap, you need a bit of bond where the two Gossamers are touching each other, right? Between, like sandwiched between. So one way to apply bond if you're going to overlap is come in and just tap a bit. I go on the spine of the Gossamer and I go a little bit higher up, just so that when the next Gossamer pops on, it has more to grab onto. All right, and go slowly, look down into a mirror. Bev's saying, rest your arm on the table and look down. Fuzz, oh my gosh. Look down into a mirror. When you're wearing black, everything shows up. Look down into a mirror, set your elbow down, and then that way you'll have more stability when you're applying. And then if you need to, you can actually lift your lid a little bit while you're looking down and line up the corners. So I'm gonna do the next lash, and I'm gonna try and show you how to sort of line up the corners of your Gossamers as you're placing them to get better alignment. So good, so good. These are great questions, you guys. I love it. Keep them coming, keep them coming. So let's see. I'm gonna come in and do, actually, let's do the B. Let's go back to the B. So I'm gonna show you with this one, the 2 millimeter gap. I think it'll be easier once the inner corner can be really tricky for some people, particularly if you have more of a dip, like a rounded eye, and then your inner corner sort of dips, because you have to angle that lash, right? You wanna follow the angle of your lash line. You don't wanna come in, if your eye kind of curves down this way, we don't wanna come in like this. We actually have to turn everything so that it fits properly. And angling your head can also be a game changer. Oh my gosh, I have Gossamers everywhere, you guys. They're everywhere, they're everywhere. Talk about, I haven't worn fluffies in quite a while, so we have an F12 and 2 F14s in this Lash Map, and I always forget how much I like this lash. It's so different because they sit 3-dimensional, and let me show you that from the side. let me show you that from the side. It's so different from some of our other styles. Check that out. So this is straight on, but look at how we've got some over here, we've got some over here, we've got some over here. That is the nature of the fluffy lash. It has multi-length, multi-curl for this three-dimensional fluffy look. So it's really wispy. So from the side, we'll try and get a good side view. It gives you this really gorgeous fluff. It's a fluffy look. It's the fluffy. Hi Bella. Bella says she loves Lashify. I don't know what I ever did before. Girl, I know. I wore mascara for over 25 years, like almost daily, before I found Lashify. And I came from, like I said, it came from strip lashes. I was gonna show you this in the mirror, or in the camera. I came from strip lashes and had no idea how much damage all of that was doing to my natural lashes. Found Lashify and like, I don't even know how to put on a strip lash anymore. I used to be a pro at it. Okay, so see how you just kind of line up. Find the corner. It's so hard for you guys to see. I wish we could do like wish we had like a macro function. Let me grab that lash. Let me grab that lash. Okay, we can move that around. Let me see if I can show you. So it depends on like where you're focusing, right? To get that good alignment. Coming in, you kind of make sure that you want the base of the lash to touch first. So I like to come in with the base sort of aiming for my lash line so that when that touches, all I have to do is pull back, right? And then I'm looking, let's do that again, facing forward, because that was awful placement for the sake of teaching. But now when I come in this way, watch this. I'm looking at this corner right here, and I'm aiming for good placement of that corner. Everything else will fall into place. And then that nice Velcro catch. I know, in the beginning, it feels like maybe a lot to think about, right? Like, okay, up from the wet line, line up the corners, make sure your bond is tacky. It'll become second nature as you do more applications. Don't you worry. Okay, did I hit that? It's still high. Let's move it and let's move to the next one, all right? So sometimes what I do as well, Nancy, I was thinking more about the symmetry between your two eyes. I'll even go as far as to do the inner corner, the outer corner, and then line up the centers, because sometimes my center point, I think my center point, when I lay those down, I have a different amount of space from the center to the outers and a center to the inners between each eye. So then I can kind of gauge how much I'm gonna overlap, or if I'm gonna add another Gossamer or add another half Gossamer. Sometimes I'll cut them. Amazing, thank you, Nancy. Nancy said you just demonstrated a great way to lift the lash. Amazing. I'm so glad. You guys are getting all the tips and tricks. Bev says, layers and layers of mascara wearing with fibers and primer and still wasn't nearly as good as Lashify. I know. And then, yeah, we've done campaigns too where, you know, we try and do mascara next to Lashify. Oh my gosh, putting on mascara these days is like, it's terrifying. It's horrifying. And then trying to put on strip lashes. Like I said, I used to be a pro. I used to be able to put those on so fast, and I could do them on other people as well. I couldn't get them on myself. It was so hard. Okay, next one. Let's see. I'm gonna do quite a bit of overlap here to get some symmetry. We're popping in the fluffy 12, and let's see, my eyes. So I have also an interesting thing. This might be something that you have to deal with as well. Your husband loves the lashes. I love it. What's his favorite lash? Does he know them by name now? Does he say, oh, Nancy, those fluffies look good on you? But I really liked the bees the other day. Have you ever had someone say that to you? So as I was saying, in addition to having two different length eyes, this one's shorter, this one's longer, this one's more open, this one tends to be more of a sultry eye with an attitude. She likes to be a cat eye. The lashes on this eye grow this way, straight out, and then the lashes on this eye point this way. So that can throw off some of your placement as well. Is he a lashy husband? He loves the Amplify lashes. The Amplify are so natural, right? That's okay, Gina. It doesn't matter. You like what you like when you put it on, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. So what I was, with the lashes growing in different directions, so sometimes you kind of have to ignore which direction your lashes are growing, or you can even use the lash curl to kind of tame them in the direction that you want to go so as not to confuse yourself. So with these ones, even if they're going this way, you know, if I'm not thinking about it, I'll start placing the lashes like this to follow the natural flow of my natural lashes. But I have to trick myself. I have to turn the lash, and I actually will sometimes apply the center one on purpose, front facing and angled correctly so that I can get good placement everywhere else. Yeah, Gina, sometimes it's like, it's based on a mood, right? Sometimes it's based on your mood, what you're doing in a day. And sometimes it goes in phases. I go through phases where I'm like, I love super natural, like barely there and really short. And then I'll get in moods where I just want extra volume, you know? And that's okay. That is the beauty of Lashify. You can have it however you like. Now with the fluffies have quite a bit of curl, and they have more of a base, more of a spine. So with these, I do recommend applying them just a little bit further away than you're used to. Say you've gotten your 1 to 2 millimeter placement down pat. With the fluffies, I always recommend, because of the curl and because of how the spine is constructed, go up by like a 0.5 millimeter or a full millimeter further, and they will be way more comfortable. And why? Because, and I figured this out because I was struggling with fluffies in the beginning. That curl, I have very straight lashes, natural lashes, and that curl, oh, so pretty. So here's my natural lash, right? I have a little bit of curl. The fluffies kind of like this. So if we're trying to apply this curly lash on a very straight lash, they can kind of get in the way of each other. So I do find that curling the natural lashes can help get that spine of the fluffy under better instead of accidentally catching too high or getting in a weird situation where maybe you have bond here and you have bond here. That could create a problem. So maybe try and curl your natural lashes, and then that way it'll kind of cradle your natural lashes better. Because if you have too much of a difference, and say you have bond in like 2 different places, if you fuse too high, that could actually pull on the base of your natural lash and create damage. So you really want to get that nice adhesion at the base and then fuse directly on the base when you're wearing fluffies. The other thing that I've noticed with fluffies and some of our volume lashes is that you need room at the base for a little bit of a drop. Your natural lashes, your whole lash look will relax after you're done and you've fused. So you're gonna need just a tiny bit of space for that relax. If you don't have enough space, it's gonna start poking you. Nancy, I'm so glad, right? I know I really wanted to do a deep dive into placement, because I know once you start getting them on, like the first time you're like, oh my God, they're so good. I love them, I love them, I love them. And then you start getting into the nitty gritty of lash mapping. How does it look? How does it feel? It was great this time. What did I do wrong this time, right? So, and it's a natural process to go through, totally natural process to go through as a new user with Lashify. Even now, I mean, I've been using the system for over 3 years, and every time we come out with a new lash, it has a new construction. You work with it just a little bit differently. Your eye wears it a little bit differently. So we always go through a new learning process because they're so delicate, right? And the differences are very fine. So we nerd out. I nerd out. going to speak for myself, and I don't mind nerding out because it's really fun. Look at this volume, you guys. There was quite a bit of overlap, and it does, when you overlap, you add, you know, if the lashes are overlapping like this, you're gonna get more volume at that overlap points because you have more fibers coming out, but I'm not mad. It really adds to that wispy, sort of fluffy, variegated look. It's just so pretty. So pretty. And my eyes are holding these lashes differently. Let's see what we need to do here. So placement is really gonna be about practice. It's gonna be about experimenting, knowing your eye shape, and just going based on the fundamentals, right? So making sure that you're leaving out a few baby hairs on the inner corners, on the outer corners, and measuring. I started measuring like it was part of my application process to ensure that they were comfortable, to ensure that they were gonna last as long as I wanted them to. And then after that, you adjust based on the lash, right? Any tips for using some colored lashes? Going to a wedding and wearing lilac. Ooh! So colored lashes are so much fun. Let's fuse as we're talking here. Oh my God, and let's just check out the lashes. Colored lashes are so fun. You can really do whatever you like. You can add a tiny pop of color wherever you like. You can go full out and add a full, you know, full look. But combining, I like combining. If you're going to a wedding and maybe you want just like a little bit right here on the outer corner. I actually did a little tutorial, live tutorial on this. When did I do that, Bev? Royal Kim. Oh yeah, see, Bev already got you. So if you stay on this page, it's the learn page, and then if you go to our streaming tutorials, if you scroll back a little bit, I did a tutorial where we used Royal Kim blues and then just added a little bit of darker lashes on top, just so that the blues could sort of peek over. Yep, and you can do them with violet or lavender or mix them. I think a nice mix of violet and lavender would be really pretty. Last Friday? Okay. Oh yeah, you're right, because my sister and her husband came to town and it was gonna be a big Vegas weekend and I had my blue lashes on. Good memory, Bev, good memory. Okay, let's take a tour of these lashes. You guys got all the tips and tricks. Look at this lash look. I love these. So the Extreme Ice, very unique style. You've got those two icicle-like points with thicker fibers. The rest of the lash is a little bit shorter, and you've got softer fibers in there. So you've got that hybrid look. Let's see if we can get the side view. Oh my gosh, let's try this side because I have a window there. Okay, check out that three-dimensional curl on the fluffies. See that? I mean, even you can see it from the side. Like they sit, right? They sit kind of like this. Oh, so good. I love that. I always forget how much I love the fluffies. Everyone's been on the plushy kick. It's like that perfect, you know, soft volume, perfect lash. But the fluffies really are a whole other vibe. That's my mirror. Check out the lash cleavage. So pretty. Some people like to check their placement from the top as well. Like I can see a little bit of a gap there, but that's only because I'm looking real hard. But some people actually like to look up top to ensure that, you know, they can see a little bit of a gap or check their placement from that angle. So learn your angles. Yup, that's Lashify Bev. She's in the comments hanging out with us. I know, Lashify Bev's amazing. Beverly for president. That's what I always say. She's like everyone's auntie. She takes care of us, the entire education team. So good, so good. She also has an amazing plethora of tips and tricks. If you ever schedule a one-on-one, you might get Beverly, and she's amazing. She's amazing. What else, you guys? Do you have any other questions for placement? I feel like you guys got so much information here. Inner and outer corner placement, how to place for different length of eyes, even different lashes that grow in different directions. It's really about forgetting about what's happening with your natural lashes and just, you know, focusing on the lash. Yep, it's Beverly, so good. So again, my holy grail tip, take the tip of the Fuse Control wand, place it at the top of your wet line where your lashes are growing out of your eye. Ensure that it fits between the base of the Gossamer and the top of your waterline, and do that all the way across. And that's how you are going to get a good gap underneath there. And then the other big tactile cue is that if you squint your eyes and they're poking, or if they're uncomfortable or tugging, you just have to move it, right? It's kind of, it just makes it easy. It's supposed to make sense. Amazing, you guys, this was such a fun tutorial. I was so glad I got to nerd out with you guys. If you have more questions, let us know. Tap us in the Lashify Life Facebook group. It's the best place to be. We have almost 120,000 members in there. Come join us. Even if you aren't on Facebook, create a new account, because there's no other community like this that I've seen on the interwebs. Bev and I are hanging out in there, the entire Lashify team. And like I said, almost 120 members who are also using Lashify. Some of them have been there longer than I have, since we started Lashify in 2018. So they have their own amazing tips and tricks. They might have their own bonding methods that they've come up with that work for them, and it might work for you, right? Storage ideas, lash mapping ideas. You might find someone who has a similar eye shape to you, who has great tips for better placement as well. So you never know what's gonna happen in there. Sahara is very active in there. Have you ever heard of a company where the CEO and the inventor of the products are actively chatting with the customers, like almost on a daily basis? It's kind of unheard of. It's a very special place. So we are doing lives almost every day here on Lashify.com, on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, inside the Lashify Life Facebook group. Again, if you have any questions, we've got you. We have created so many videos, so many resources for you to set you up for success and to have fun living that Lashify life. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.